How come it's so incredibly hard to paint what you see? What if I told you that you can't paint what you see simply because you forget? That's right, you forget before you even have a chance to use your brush. And let me show it to you with a really quick test. All right, so memorize this shape. Ready? It's gonna be quick. Now move your head left and right, turn around and look at this. Which one was it that you saw a moment ago? This one? Maybe this one. This one looks like it. See, it makes a difference because if this was the shadow shape that you had to place on a portrait to visualize the placement of the eye, for example, then we would really need to be very accurate. It would be crucial for the likeness to be very precise, and a few millimeters could change everything in how the eye looks and how the likeness is rendered. By the way, the answer was this one, so congrats if you had it. You have a pretty damn sharp eye, and if you have the impression this quick test has nothing to do with painting, then think again, because this is exactly what any artist has to do all the time while painting or drawing. Same thing, same set of skills. Realism is all about memorizing visual data about shapes from your model and transferring all this data faithfully on your canvas. So check out this painting master copy that I've painted live in the context of the Atelier of Figurative Arts. And by the way, you're welcome to join. You can simply follow the links below to find out how to download the resources for the assignments and follow along twice a week so that we all learn together in good fun. It's all free, and if you join the Discord, you can share your progress and get critique from the amazing community there, so check it out. Anyway, back to the painting. Look at my head. I'm gonna try to do some slow motion so that we see what's going on here. I'm gonna try to analyze exactly what I do at every moment. And here, I'm gonna try to fix this eye because I noticed something wrong about the eye and I want to correct and improve the shape of this eye. So here's how I'm going to do it. I check my model for a second or two. I try to memorize something that's big enough to be significant, but not too big and complex that I'll lose it within the next milliseconds. I then have to move my head and look at the same area on my canvas, and then I have to go to my palette. If it's not ready yet, I need to pick up the right type of paint. I look at the area on my canvas again, locate it, and then replicate exactly the same shape. So altogether, that's 10 to 20 seconds between the moment I memorize the shape on my model and the moment I'm done with it. If I want to be smart about it, I can do what I do here, which is I try to locate an area that I want to work on my model. I will then try to prepare my palette without worrying too much about fixing it right now. Then I'll do a second check. So I'll go back to my model, check again, and then I'll do a second check. This time I'll go back, trying to spot the same area on my model again. This time my paintbrush is ready with the right color. And this is a really good trick because after I'm done finding the shape on my model, I can immediately switch to my canvas and I will lose as little information as I can about this shape. Because if it takes 10 to 20 seconds to memorize a certain shape, you can't really imagine how much visual data is lost within those first 20 seconds. Actually, the loss happens within the first 2 seconds, I would say. This kind of memory is so fugitive because it's so uncommon for our brains to focus on this kind of subtle visual details, like finding the difference between the 4 shapes from the beginning. This is not something that our brains have to practice very often. It's almost never, actually. And this is why I'm not done here. Every time I do correct a shape in one of my paintings, after I finish this sort of mental routine, so one cycle, I memorize and I paint my shape, what do I have to do? Well, I have to do it all over again, but in reverse. So to check the accuracy of what I just painted, the process is exactly the same, but from the canvas to the model this time. I check my canvas for a second or two. I try to memorize the shape that I've painted on my subject, and then I have to move my head, look at the same area on the model again, and then I have to go back to the palette if needed, pick up the right type of paint, and finally make the necessary adjustment. Now, those adjustments will probably not be perfect, so I'll have to do another cycle of memorizing and correcting. And see, it's exactly like what we did with our 4 shapes. The first attempt will probably be like this one, let's say. Then after correcting, it will be maybe closer to this one. And the final one will be the exact shape. So this one that we get ultimately after a number of cycles of memorizing and correcting. And as you can see, visual memory is part of the very essence of the art of painting. And the reason most people are incapable of drawing or painting what they see is that they simply forget what they see before they even have a chance to use it. And when I say that most people forget what they see, I'm talking as an artist here. Of course, they see an eye. They remember it as an eye. Yeah, sure. They're not stupid. They're not drunk. They don't forget that they see an eye. But an eye doesn't paint itself. So we need more visual data if we are to paint it as it appears. It's not enough to know that it is an eye. How do you paint it? You need some visual data of how it looks, and for that you need the shapes, the proportions, the colors. Knowing that this is an eye is the level 0 on our artistic scale, and in fact it doesn't even matter that we know that a certain shape is supposed to be an eye, and in fact we might paint it better if we don't associate the shape with the concept. So when I say that most people forget what they see, I mean they forget how wide the shape is in relation to how high it is, for example, this sort of thing. Or they forget what distance separates a shape from another shape. Or they forget what specific angle a certain edge has. For example, this one, this kind of angle here, this kind of angle. This is the kind of stuff that people forget because they're not used to it. This is all extremely complex visual information that's useful only for us whose goal is to represent the objects as they appear on our model as accurately as possible with paint. This is extremely situational and complex, and our brain is really not designed for this type of thing. It's not a natural inclination of our intellect to focus on this sort of visual data. The natural tendency of our brain is to conceptualize and symbolize. So for the eye, instead of seeing and visualizing a shape like this, which is what we need as figurative artists, what the brain really wants to see is more something that would look like this. The brain wants to see the concept, the symbol of a concept of what an eye is, something like this. And it's all good, only it doesn't really help with realism past a certain amount of complexity. And this is why most people can't really draw what they see. They draw what they conceptualize as symbols. But this strategy is really limited because to paint realistically, the brain has to learn how to focus on how to memorize those menial but crucial visual data, visual information, like the precise angle of an edge or the distance between 2 points compared to another measure. Unfortunately for us, this can be improved with practice. So the number one thing you can do to help your brain adjust to seeing as an artist, and this is really the key, seeing as an artist, you have to use the right setup and force your brain into artist mode. Having a setup where the model is placed right next to the canvas at a 90-degree angle, often referred to as the sight size method, is beneficial for beginners and experienced painters alike because it simplifies the process of comparing the model to the painting. So you want to position yourself at a consistent distance from both the model and the canvas, and for the best results, you want the model and the canvas placed on the same plane and aligned vertically. They should be placed next to each other as close as possible at your eye level. If you can, stand up. It's going to help tremendously. And you want to stand back frequently to your viewing spot to view both your model and your subject at once and compare them from a distance so that you can envision them both within your field of vision without moving your head. And really, this is genius, and this is how the masters of the past used to learn. The first great benefits is that it minimizes the visual memorization effort. When the model and the canvas are side by side at the same scale, your brain doesn't need to remember complex proportions, angles, or details for quite as long while transitioning between the model and the canvas. It's like whereas if your model is here and your easel is here, it's like, okay, I see this distance here. All right, let me grab my paint. Oh, okay, where was it? Oh, see, it's not the same flow. We're saving milliseconds of brain power here, and believe it or not, it makes a huge difference. So instead of holding the image in memory while moving your head around all over the place before going back to your canvas, you can directly spot the proportions, the values, and the shapes without moving, just with a quick movement of your eyes. It makes it incredibly easier to compare the model and your canvas, and it makes it incredibly easier to get art that looks realistic. And the second benefit is that it reduces the optical distortions. With this very rigid setup, the side-size setup, the model and the canvas are viewed from the same distance and angle, and this ensures that the perspective, the scale, remain consistent. Your brain doesn't have to burn computing power to rescale or compensate for angle distortion. I strongly recommend that you don't use a tilted drawing board or tilt your easel, even if it feels comfortable. I know. The problem is you're just creating optical distortions that don't need to exist. Placing the model next to the canvas allows for an immediate visual assessment of the values, the edges, the colors. Oh God, I can't believe we are only talking now about color comparisons, but this setup also makes it so much better because you can see everything you need to know about color without needing to shift the focus or move around. Color information is also very fugitive. This is something that you forget quite easily. You can instantly see where your painting diverges from the model, and making corrections is just faster and more intuitive. One key takeaway is that this setup is a learning tool first. It really helps in the beginning, and it's not something that you have to keep once you've reached a certain level. It really helps in the beginning, and just know that it's not something that you have to keep once you reach a certain level. Once your brain knows where to look and what to look for, you don't need to place your model so close to your canvas all the time. It's a setup that works wonders to practice and train your eye to see as an artist, so I really recommend it in the beginning. Past a certain point, you can be more flexible. For those of our community, the Atelier, who want to follow along with the assignments that we do here every week, I always recommend a setup like this, and I have countless examples of people who improved significantly just by choosing this setup. See, beginners often struggle with translating what they see into accurate forms on the canvas because of the cognitive load of memorization and perspective adjustments, because there is so much to worry about that they forget about the key visual data that they should be memorizing because it's so complex. And this site-size setup reduces these variables, letting beginners focus on observing and memorizing without the added complexity. It minimizes distraction and effort and encourages careful observation rather than guessing. When you get better, you can keep the setup as I do because it's practical and it's pleasant. But you can also have your model anywhere you want. Your memory skill at this point will compensate for the less methodical and organized setup. And finally, without needing to mentally or physically adjust the proportions, the perspective, you can dedicate more time to refining your work and less time troubleshooting inconsistencies caused by the placement, the setup, or the scaling issues. By reducing the effort required to compare your model and your canvas, this very simple setup will not only improve the accuracy, but also train your observational skills and build confidence, especially for beginners working towards realism. If you want to see another video, check this one out, join the Atelier, and I'll see you around. Joy and inspiration to you, my friends. Bye.